Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd Canto, Chapter 29, Text 37. This chapter is entitled as Explanation of Devotional Service. Text 37. Rupa Bhedashpadam Divyam Kala Iti Abhidhiyate Bhutanam Mahad Adinam Yato Bhinna Drisham Bhayam. Rupa Bhedaspadam Divyam Kala Ityabhidhiyate Bhutanang Mahadadina Yato Bhinna Drisham Bhayam. Rupa Bhedaspadam Divyam Kala Ityabhidhiyate Bhutanang Mahadadina Yato Bhinna Drisham Bhayam. Rupa Bhedaspadam Divyam Kala Ityabhidhiyate Bhutanang Mahadadina Yato Bhinna Drisham Bhayam. Kala Ityabhidhiyate Bhutanam Mahadadinam Yato Bhinna Drisham Bhayam. Rupa Bhedaspadam Divyam Kala Ityabhidhiyate Matajis. Rupa Bhedaspadam Divyam Kala Ityabhidhiyate Bhutanam Mahadadinam Yato Bhinna Drisham Bhayam. Rup, please. Rupa Bheda of the transformation of forms. Aspadam, the cause. Divyam, divine. Kalaha, time. iti, thus, abhidhiyate, is known, bhutanam, of living entities, mahat adinam, beginning with Lord Brahma, yataha, because of which, bhinna drisham, with separate vision, bhayam, fear. Translation by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. The time factor, who causes the transformation of the various material manifestations, is another feature of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Anyone who does not know that time is the same Supreme Personality is afraid of the time factor. Please repeat after me. The time factor, who causes the transformation of the various material manifestations, is another feature of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Anyone who does not know that time is the same Supreme Personality is afraid of the time factor. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Everyone is afraid of the activities of time, but a devotee who knows that the time factor is another representation or manifestation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead has nothing to fear from the influence of time. The phrase Rupa Bhedashpadam is very significant. By the influence of time, so many forms are changing. For example, when a child is born, his form is small. But in course of time, that form changes into a larger form, the body of a boy, and then the body of a young man. Similarly, everything is changed and transformed by the time factor, or by the indirect control of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Usually, we do not see any difference between the body of a child and the body of a boy or young man, because we know that these changes are due to the action of the time factor. There is cause for fear for a person who does not know how time acts. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtham Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayham Dadati Swapadantikam. Bandeham Shri Guru Shri Judapada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavangscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tang Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanitangscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindho Deenabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Bancha Kalpa Tarubhascha Kripa Sindhubhaivacha Patitana Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Rupa bhedas padang divyam kala ityabhidhiyate bhutanang mahadadinam yato bhinna drishang bhayam. The time factor who causes the transformation of the various material manifestations is another feature of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Anyone who does not know that time is the same Supreme Personality is afraid of the time factor. Kala, the time factor, is an expansion of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The time factor has also been described as the glance of the Supreme Personality of Godhead towards the material nature. Mahavishnu glances towards material nature, and that glance causes the agitation of the material nature, and as a result of that, the material nature becomes manifest. The material nature, after being agitated, comes Vyakta. Maya, or the material nature, has two states, Abhyakta and Vyakta. Abhyakta dini bhutani, Vyakta madhyani bharata, Abhyaktan nidhanan neva tatra ka paridevana. So the material nature is Abhyakta dini bhutani. It was unmanifest. Nothing was manifest. Nothing was there in this material nature. But Vyakta madhyani bharata, in the middle, it became manifest. And then again, Abhyakta nidhanan neva, it will become unmanifest again. So, that is the nature of this material manifestation. And the cause of that is the glance of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And that glance then takes the form of time. The glance of Mahavishnu takes the form of time. And everything is existing in relation to time. Time is the fourth dimension. I remember a long time ago, I read a book by H.G. Wells, Time Machine. And he is actually explaining that everything is actually existing not in three dimensions. There is a fourth dimension. Three dimension, length, breadth and width. Everything is existing on that. That is the general understanding. But beyond that, there is another factor. That's time. Everything is existing on time. Actually, pretty smart observation. Must have studied the Vedic literatures. But in the Vedas, that concept becomes very, very clear. When Maitreya Rishi was instructing Vidura, he made this point very clear, how the manifestation takes place, how the material manifestation takes place. And Brahma Samhita also is describing the glance of Mahavishnu is actually Shambhu, Lord Shiva. And here we can also see that Lord Shiva is also the representation of time, Mahakal. The great manifestation of time is a feature of Lord Shiva. Now, in time, everything is existing. Everything appears in time. Everything is maintained in time. And then everything eventually is annihilated by time. And Prabhupada is pointing out that due to the influence of time, everything is changing its form. Shrishti, Sthiti, creation, maintenance and annihilation are all happening in time. Now, Kapil Muni is making a very important point here, that those who do not know that that the time is actually a representation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, become afraid of time. Because they know that in due course of time, everything will be finished. In due course of time, everyone will die. And everyone is afraid of death. But those who have taken shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is not afraid of death. And those who have taken shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead know very well that this time also is another feature of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Lord Himself is manifest in time. And in time, we are in this material nature. In time, we are going through different experience in the material nature. And then eventually, in due course of time, we'll go back to Godhead. And that is the understanding of a devotee. Therefore, a devotee is not afraid of time. Rather, time is afraid of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Jad vibheti swayam bhayam. Fear personified is afraid of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And Kala is there. But then, now it's another important consideration here is that the time in the material nature is existing in three aspects, in three ways. Past, present and future. Whereas time in the spiritual sky is eternally present. The time is completely opposite, diametrically opposite in the spiritual sky. Here it exists, although we think that time exists in the form of past, present and future, but if we observe it more profoundly, if we go in depth of it, then we see, proper analysis will reveal that actually in here the time is past and future. Present is only a fleeting concept. The present, before we have said the P of the present is gone to the past. So it's existing in these two features, past and future. From past, time is flowing through the present, so-called impression of the present, into the past. Future is flowing into the past. Whereas in the spiritual sky, the time is eternally present. Now, how is that? We'll find out only when we go back there. From here, we won't be able to understand how the time is eternally present there. But one understanding, we can just have some sort of understanding, and of that eternally present concept of time, is that there, time is in relation to Krishna's desire, Krishna's will, Krishna's pastimes. And since everyone is tuned into Krishna, everyone there is Krishna conscious, everyone's consciousness is simply tuned into Krishna's consciousness, everyone is existing and present. There is the past is a kind of an impression. They remember, long time back Krishna stole butter and Mother Jashoda tied him up. And in this way, just as here, the present is a kind of an impression, there in the spiritual sky, past and future is some sort of an impression. But present, the time is there eternally present. And in this way, Kapil Muni is giving his mother a very systematic understanding of the spiritual reality. He started off in this portion, he started off with Varnashram. Say the civilized human beings are situated in Varnashram. Or those who are situated in Varnashram, only they are the civilized human beings. Those who are not following Varnashram, meaning those who do not practice the Vedic culture, those who do not lead or structure their lives according to the Vedic instructions, they are uncivilized. Although materially they may appear to be very prosperous, but they are not civilized. Civilization begins with the acceptance of Vedic culture. And then he pointed out that among all these civilized people, the Brahmanas are the highest because they are the most advanced, intellectually most advanced people. And then the Brahmanas are also classified into different categories. Those who study the Vedas, they are in the lower category. Even higher than them are those who understood the Vedic instructions, the instructions of the Vedas. Then even higher than them are those who have understood the conclusion of the Vedas, different branches of the Vedas. And then ultimately those who are situated in the platform of pure devotional service, they are the best of all the human beings. They are the best of all living entities. In this way he is pointing out that the ultimate goal of life is to become a pure devotee of the Lord. And when one becomes a pure devotee of the Lord, then only he can understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Not otherwise. By studying Vedas alone, by practicing the Karmakanda section of the Vedas or Jnanakanda section of the Vedas, one cannot possibly understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The only means of understanding the Supreme Personality of Godhead is pure devotional service. That reminds me, in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also kind of very systematically gave that understanding to Ramananda Roy. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu met Ramananda Roy in South India on the bank of Godavari in Kobur. And they were just having a discussion. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked Ramananda Roy, Ramananda Roy, what is the ultimate goal of life? Ramananda Roy also started with Varnashram. And he substantiated his statement, Varnashrama Charovata Purushena Parak Puman Vishnur Aradhate Pantha Nainam Tatto Shakari. The Varna, practicing of Varnashram is the ultimate goal of life. And it is a statement from the scriptures. Vishnur Aradhate Pantha. That is the way to worship Vishnu. And worshipping Vishnu is the ultimate goal of life. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu rejected that. He said, no, that's external. Tell me what's beyond that. Then Ramananda Raya told about Karma Yoga, Karma Mishra, Bhakti. Jat karosi jadasnasi jajjuhasi dadasi jat. Jat tapushoshi konteya tat kurusha madarpana. Whatever you do, whatever you eat, whatever you give in charity, whatever austerities you perform, offer the results of all those activities to me. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu rejected that. Then Ramananda Roy mentioned about Jnana Mishra Bhakti. Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma. No, before that actually he suggested karma tyag, renunciation of karma, sarva dharman parityajya, mamekam sharanam braja. Mahaprabhu rejected that also. Then Ramananda Rai mentioned about Jnana Mishra Bhakti, Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma, na sochati na kankshati sama sarveshu bhuteshu mad bhakting labhate param. Sama sarveshu bhuteshu mad bhakting labhate param. But Mahaprabhu rejected that also. Although he is talking about devotional service, para bhakti, transcendental devotional service, but Mahaprabhu rejected that and said, tell me what's beyond that? Then Ramananda Roy spoke about pure devotional service. Jnane prayasa namanta jivanti na jnane prayasa udapasya namanta eva jivanti sanmukharitam bhavadiya vartam. When jnana and karma, jnana, prayasam, udapasya, even the endeavor for jnana, the transcendental knowledge which actually leads to liberation, when that is given up and one becomes endowed with attachment to the Supreme Personality of Godhead due to the association of the saintly personality, by hearing about the Supreme Personality of Godhead from their lotus lips, Sanmukharitang Bhavadiya Vartam. Then Prayesho Ajito, the Supreme Personality of Godhead who is inconquerable, he becomes conquered. Mahaprabhu accepted that. Ramananda Roy gave another example in that respect, that Jnana Karmad Anabritam Anukullena Krishnanushilanam Bhakti Uttama Anna Bhilashita Sunnam Jnana Karmad Anabritam. Becoming free from all other desires and even becoming free from the coverings, coverings of Jnana and Karma. The Jnana Kanda and Karma Kanda sections of the Vedas have been compared to two coverings. Anabritam. Those coverings are removed. Jnana Karmad Anabritam. Anukullena Krishnanushilanam. And when one becomes engaged in devotional service to the Lord, accepting whatever is favorable to devotional service, that is known as Uttam Bhakti. At this point, Mahaprabhu accepted it. Yes, this is right, but tell me what's beyond that. Then Ramananda Roy explained about devotional service in Shantaras. Mahaprabhu said, fine, that's good. Tell me something beyond that. He mentioned about devotional service in Dasaras. He said, yes, but tell me what's beyond that. He said, devotional service in Sakharas. Then Mahaprabhu said, yes, what is beyond that? Then he said, devotional service in Vatsalyaras. And Mahaprabhu said, yes, that's true, but what is beyond that? Then he said, devotional service in Madhuryaras. Then Mahaprabhu said, yes, that's true. Tell me what's beyond that. Then Ramananda Roy said, I didn't know that anybody could ask what is beyond that. Now you are asking me the questions and you are also empowering me to answer the questions. So if you empower me, then I may be able to answer this question. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, then Ramananda Roy kept on explaining that of all the devotees in Madhur Raj, Srimati Radharani, he didn't mention, Srimati Radharani's position is very, very special. And he gave the example that during the Rasa dance, there were one Krishna dancing between two gopis. And in this way he was dancing with 16,000 gopis. But in the center of the circle, one Krishna was dancing with one gopi. So that gopi must be very special. And then when this gopi became upset with Krishna and left the Rasa Mandali, Krishna left all 16,000 gopis and followed her. Therefore she must be very special. So in this way, we can see that the perfect understanding has been revealed by the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu through Ramananda Roy. Another example is the Brihad Bhagavatam by Sanatana Goswami. In both the parts, first part and second part, we're gradually taking us to the ultimate point, the very, very special position of Srimati Radharani. The very special position of Krishna's Braja Leela. In Braja Leela, the very special situation of the Braja Gopis, and among all the Braja Gopis, very special position of Srimati Radharani. In the first part, when Narad Muni is searching for a devotee, the best devotee of the Lord, he finally just comes to that point, recognizing the position of Srimati Radharani. And in the second part, in the journey of Gop Kumar, he eventually comes to Golok Vrindavan and becomes an associate of Krishna and receives the unique position of the residents of Vrindavan. And the supreme among them is Srimati Radharani. So that is the gift of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Aradha Bhagavan Brajeshotana. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has concluded Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's teachings in this way. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's teachings, the gift of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. What is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's teachings? Aradha Bhagavan Brajeshotana. The supreme worshipable personality of Godhead is the son of Nanda Maharaj, Brajeshotana. Stadhama Vrindavanam. His dham, his abode is Vrindavan. Why? There is Krishna of Dwarka, Krishna of Mathura, but no, not Krishna of Dwarka, not Vasudev, not Mathuresh, but Brajendra Nandan Krishna, Brajeshotana, Sadhama Vrindavan, and his abode is Vrindavan. Jiva Goswami pointed out that Krishna, that's Brajendra Nandan Krishna, Vrindavanam Parittajya Padam Ekam Nagacchati, Kadapi Kutra Nagacchati. This Krishna never leaves Vrindavan. The question may arise, then, Akrura came and took Krishna away. Krishna was away from Vrindavan for so many years, 100 years. Why is that? No, that is not Brajendra Nandan Krishna. That is, that Krishna, when he went to the border of Vrindavan, Krishna Balaram went to take bath in Jamuna. At that time, Akrura saw their four-arm forms in Jamuna. So at that time, when they went to take bath in Jamuna, Brajendra Nandan Krishna, along with Baladev, went back to Vrindavan. And Vasudev Krishna came and sat on the chair. So it's the Vasudev Krishna that he took to Mathura to kill Kamsa, who eventually went to Dwarka. And this Vasudev Krishna is very eager to go to Vrindavan. Brihad Bhagavatamrita is describing that this Vasudev Krishna, he is always absent-minded. The queens noticed that he was always absent-minded. As if during the daytime, he is always absent-minded, like as if his mind is somewhere else. And at night, he dreams about Vrindavan. Like in dream, he goes to Vrindavan. So although he is there, but still he is not there. His heart is in Vrindavan. That's why when he gets the opportunity to to go to Vrindavan, he becomes very, very excited. And that excited form of Vasudeva, Krishna, is Lord Jagannath. That's why his face lit up with a beautiful smile. His eyes blossomed like two fully bloomed lotuses. His hands spread out in order to embrace those devotees of Vrindavan. That is Dwarkesh Krishna wanting to go to, or excited with the opportunity, with the possibility of going to Vrindavan. So, what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave has been perfectly substantiated and established by the scriptures. That Aradha Bhagavan Brajeshu Tanai. And Stadhama Vrindavanam, his dham, his abode is Vrindavanam. And Ramma Kachi Dupashana Brajabodhu Vargena Jakulpita. The way the Brajabodhus, the cowherd damsels, worshipped him, that is the highest form of worship. Srimad Bhagavatam Pramanam Amalam. The spotless Puran, Srimad Bhagavatam, is the proof. Bhagavatam is the proof. If there is a question, how can you substantiate this claim? How can you substantiate this statement? Srimad Bhagavatam, the spotless Puran. And that is Chaitanya Mahaprabhur Matamidam. This is the conclusion of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's teachings. Tatra Dharanam. Just accept that, and there is no need to accept anything else. So in this way we can see how wonderfully Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has made this arrangement for the most fallen, most degraded living entities of the age of Kali, like ourselves. Although we are most fallen, He is giving us the highest of the spiritual understanding and the access to the highest region, topmost region of the spiritual sky. That is Mahaprabhu's mercy. Therefore He is Mahavadanya, the most munificent. No one ever, the Supreme Personality of Godhead Himself, although He is very, very kind, still He did not give this. And given it to us for the most degraded living entities of the age of Kali. He came to deliver the fallen souls. And our qualification is that we are fallen. Potito pavano hetu tabo avatar moshamo potito prabhu na paivya. You have come to deliver the fallen souls, potito pavan you are, hetu, therefore you have come in order to deliver the fallen souls, and you'll never get anyone as fallen as I am. Therefore, I am the most qualified to receive your mercy. So our qualification here is not our exalted situation. Our qualification in this age is our fallen condition. And the more we recognize our fallen condition, the more we will become able to receive Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy. And Srila Prabhupada distributed this most wonderful gift to all over the world. And with the passing of time, this movement is growing. Krishna consciousness movement is expanding. More and more people are receiving Srila Prabhupada's mercy by the divine arrangement that His divine grace has made. So all we have to do is just receive that mercy of Srila Prabhupada. The rest will automatically happen. Just we have to hold on to Srila Prabhupada's lotus feet. The rest will automatically happen. He has given everything. There is no need to go anywhere else. Prabhupada has given everything. in the most perfect way. And it's up to us how sincerely we are going to receive that gift of Srila Prabhupada. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki, Gaur Premanande. Any comments, Maharajas? Anything you want to add? Yes, okay.
Bhaktivinoda Krishna, back to Vrindavan, Vasudeva Krishna was Mathura. How is it that later on when Krishna was in Dwarka, Uddhava came and the gopis were in separation?
Yeah. Actually, Brajendranandan Krishna never leaves Vrindavan. He is always there. But the gopis, due to Jogamaya's influence, feel as if Krishna, the Brajabasis, due to the arrangement of Jogamaya, feel as if Krishna has left. So when Krishna comes to them, they feel as if they're dreaming. And this is because the loving relationship in separation is more intense. So in order to experience that, Krishna puts them into that kind of a situation where they're afraid or they feel as if Krishna has left. But Krishna is always there. And their situation is like, when Krishna comes to them, they feel they're dreaming. And when they dream, they think that Krishna has come to them.
Krishna
Any other questions? Yes, Krishnananda Prabhu.
Thank you for your class. Maharaj, you explained how the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is more available to those who are fallen. Is it true as a sentiment, or in the sense that we find the most exalted personalities are Rupa and Sanatana? They are definitely exalted. So,
you see, they are dealing with absolute truth. There is no room for sentiment. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, the question is that the feeling that the devotees, the exalted devotees have of their fallen situation, is it their real feeling or is it some sort of a sentiment? So the point actually is that, I was making the point that no, they really feel that way. And the thing is, like spiritual life, devotional mood acts like that. At a neophyte stage, we think that we are the greatest devotee. Right? And at the most advanced stage, we feel that we couldn't even become a devotee. So that is, see, consider who is an Uttamadhikari. The symptom of an Uttamadhikari, Sarva Bhuteshu ja pashyet bhagavat bhavam atmana. He sees that everybody has become pure devotees of the Lord. Only he couldn't become a devotee. And that's why a pure devotee, Uttamadhikari devotee, cannot preach. In order to preach, he has to come down from that stage into the Madhyamadhikar and discriminate, make a discrimination. Who is a devotee, who is innocent, and who is offensive. And then accordingly they react. Another way to look at it is, you see, we are minute. Jivas are minute. Due to our false ego, we think we are the greatest. It is due to that influence of the false ego, covering of the false ego. Now, as the jiva comes close to, as he comes close to the absolute, now he becomes more and more aware of his minuteness. And that is how this feeling of, humbleness becomes spontaneously, automatically manifest. It is a natural development. So no, there is no, I presume when you said sentiment, that is, they're just saying it, but actually they're not feeling that. No, they're feeling that. That is how a devotee will feel as he becomes more and more advanced.
One complement to this question, like we find there are two kinds of devotees, like Rupa, Sanatan, who are actually exalted, but they think themselves to be very lowly. Jagai Madai Vite Muise Papishta. But then there are others like the thieves of Navadip, beloved by Nityananda Prabhu, or Jagai Madai, who are actually fallen. So the mercy seems to be...
Yeah, well, that is here. It's right. I mean, I get the point. Like whether one has to be really fallen, or one has to develop that feeling of being fallen. Yeah, so there is difference because Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami are the most exalted personality. But Jagai Madhai, their situation, their case is different. And but my point actually was that as one makes spiritual advancement, he will naturally feel that way. Like we find the same mood with Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. We find the same mood with Haridas Thakur. We find the same mood with Bhakti Vinod Thakur. So all the great devotees, they display that mood, which is not just mere sentiment or just a poetic expression, but it is an inherent feeling. Yes, how are you, Vasudev Prabhu?
Along those lines, the exalted devotee feels the most fallen. Is this under the influence of Yogamaya? Because we know that he is exalted, he is not fallen. Is it a case of Yogamaya?
Yes, this entire spiritual domain, spiritual sky, is under the control of Yogamaya. So whatever is happening there is due to Yogamaya's influence. Yes, that's true. There's a question. Since the time factor is having its changes on the activities of the living entity, sometimes the jiva does good work and sometimes bad activities. Since it is mentioned that usually we do not see any difference between a strong devotee or a weak devotee, since in due course of time all will be strong devotee. In other words, in discretionary perception, should we consider the time factor a lot more since material training has not enthused this aspect of considering time that much. Guru Gauranga Das, this is from the internet. Okay. So, since the time factor is having its changes on the activities of living entities, sometimes the jiva does good work and sometimes bad activities. Yeah. See, when a living entity surrenders himself to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then he comes under complete control of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And then he is under the complete control of time also, under control of time. And at that point, there is no because he is acting for the sake of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, therefore he is situated in the absolute platform. Therefore, then there is no consideration of good and bad. Like, for example, apparently it may appear that Arjun's killing his relatives in the battlefield of Kurukshetra is a bad thing. It is bad. Killing his own relatives. And that's why Arjun was reluctant to fight the battle at the beginning. But then we find that because Arjun is acting on behalf of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Arjun is acting for the pleasure of the Lord, being instructed by him. Therefore, Arjun's killing his relatives is also good act, good action. It's a devotional activity, devotional service. So, so that is the first aspect of the question, that activities are taking place in time, but for a devotee, that it is another dimension of time where his activities are absolute. And usually we do not see difference between strong devotee or weak devotee, since in due course of time all will be strong. Not necessarily. The consideration is that a weak devotee will become strong if he stays in the process, if he practices the process in the system. That is, if one may be a new devotee, a weak devotee, at the beginning of his devotional life, but if he stays in ISKCON, then he will become strong devotee or pure devotee in due course of time. Like in this respect, Prabhupada actually once Prabhupada mentioned that all the devotees of ISKCON are pure devotees. So some devotees present there became quite shocked that Prabhupada, even the new bhakta who came, is he a pure devotee? And all these other weak personalities, are they also pure devotees? Prabhupada said, it's a matter of green mango and ripe mango. So they may be green today. If the mango may be green today, but if it stays in the tree, then in course of time it will become a ripe mango. So we may be weak, but if we stay in ISKCON, then in course of time we will become pure devotees. So staying in ISKCON means sincerely practicing the process that Srila Prabhupada gave. So if we sincerely practice the process, yes, in due course of time, we will become strong devotees or pure devotees. And now the next portion, actually whoever wrote it, it was little... Okay, you wrote it? I see. Anyway, whoever, you wrote. I see, you wrote it. No, I was asking who wrote that. Anyway, so the perception should be... okay, in other words, in discretionary perception, should we consider the time factor a lot more should be effective, since material training has not enthused that aspect of considering time that much. The thing is, both are important. Training is there, training must be there, practicing the process must be there, sadhana bhakti must be there. Then only in course of time we will become pure devotees. Like, let us put it this way, there are two considerations. One is spiritual, other is material. When we put Krishna in the center, then that is spiritual. If we put our false ego in the center, that is material. So now the consideration is whether our activities are centered around Krishna. If our activities are not centered around Krishna, rather if they are centered around a false ego, that is, if our activities are centered around a body consciousness, then the process will not work. On the other hand, if our activities are Krishna-centered, then eventually we will transcend our body consciousness and come to the pure spiritual consciousness or Krishna consciousness. Yes, Gaurnataraj? Krishna said it, sure it's a guarantee. Krishna said it, how can we doubt it? Salpamappasya dharmasya trayote mahato bhayat. So, If we take to Krishna consciousness, practice the process, even though we may execute it in a small way, but still it will Trayato Mahato Bhayat, it will deliver us from the fearful material existence, frightening material existence. Because dharma, activity of dharma, which ultimately would mean surrender to Krishna, will enable Krishna to take care of us. Krishna has given us the assurance. Sarva dharman parityajya mam ekam sharanam vraja. Then aham tvam sarva papebhya. The fear is due to pap. And when Krishna is giving the assurance that he will deliver us from all our sinful reactions, then there is no. Therefore, devotee is fearless. Like Srila Prabhupada. Of course, Srila Prabhupada is a pure devotee, and Prabhupada is absolutely fearless. Yes, Hare Krishna.
In the discussion with Ramananda Roy, Mahaprabhu wasn't so satisfied with his Karoshi Yadashas. It seemed to begin Satam Kartan Bhavadiya Bhakti, to always hear the glories of the Lord from the lips of a pure devotee. But it seems like Prabhupada's mood was more liberal, not that we just sit and hear all the time from pure devotees, but open restaurants and open centers and organized Mayapur TV and all these other, and they're equally satisfying.
Yeah.
So your comment on that?
Yeah, sure. You see, what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is doing through his discussion with Ramananda Roy, he is gradually, step by step, bringing the ultimate conclusion or ultimate spiritual platform of devotion. And so he is taking us step by step, right? But that doesn't mean that we all have to be on the ultimate platform as such. We have to be in the Braja Bhav and etc., Gopi Bhav and so forth. No, sthane, that's why what you actually mentioned is important. Sthane sthitva, wherever you are, just being situated, tanubang manobhi, with your body, mind and words, serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That is our situation. Doesn't matter, I'm fallen, what to do? Right? But let me continue to render devotional service. Forget the past that sleeps. So there is no need to dwell in the past. In the past I have been fallen, what to do? That was my bad karma. But now that I have come to ISKCON, let's take full advantage of it. Forget the past that sleeps, never future dream at all. Live with the time that are with thee, and progress thee shall call. So let's live with the time that's with us, right now. Be here now. That's what really matters. Does it answer your question? Not fully. Maybe you can tell me what's the...
It seems like Prabhupada seems to be a little bit more liberal.
Oh, okay, that is, Prabhupada is extremely liberal, naturally, And so, right, I didn't actually consider that point. The liberal aspect of Srila Prabhupada. You see, Prabhupada's concern is how to spread Krishna consciousness all over the world. Right? And in order to do that, Prabhupada was extremely practical. He just did whatever was necessary. That's why, it is, our business our business is not really to dwell in Ramananda Sambad, Ramananda Rai's discussion with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Through that we understand the conclusion of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's teachings, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's gift. But when it comes to practical involvement, yes, we have to see how to spread Krishna consciousness. As Prabhupada did, as Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur did, and as Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur did. Like Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur He even, he got into a big conflict with the Babajis of Radhakund. Because he saw that that is not the way to spread Krishna consciousness all over the world. Mahaprabhu wants this movement to spread all over the world. Mahaprabhu's movement is not really meant for our personal liberation. Mahaprabhu's movement is for delivering everybody in this world by spreading Krishna consciousness. And whatever is necessary, we must be prepared to do that. And that's what Prabhupada taught us, by his own example. Utility is the principle. Whatever is necessary, do it. And consider the spirit of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur sent some of his disciples to England. And they told that how difficult it is to preach there. Then Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur gave a suggestion that they can open a students' hostel, where this will be a place where the students can live. They can attend their educational institutions, staying there, and gradually you can give them Krishna consciousness. Right? And so then they wrote back that here everybody eats meat. So if we have a hostel, student hostel, then we have to serve, they are not going to take vegetarian food, they are not interested to stay in our hostel. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur's reply was, then serve meat and preach. Serve them meat. Another example, Prabhupada's mood. One of our very senior godbrother who had many, many wonderful achievements, Prabhupada sent him to Russia to preach. So he came back and said, Prabhupada, I can't stay there. I don't have any association. Prabhupada said, association or no association, preach. Go there and preach. Then he said, then eventually he gave many reasons why he can't stay in Russia. Then finally he said, Prabhupada, there is nothing to eat but meat. Then Prabhupada said, then eat meat. That is Harikesh Prabhu. So that is the broad-mindedness of our acharyas. Of course, that doesn't mean that it gives us a license to eat meat. But the point is that Prabhupada is pointing out how important it is to preach, irrespective of other consideration. And not that he went to Russia and started to eat meat, but the point is that Prabhupada gave that, he made him understand that how important it is to preach. Preaching is the most important consideration. Expanding the movement is the most important consideration. Devotee, of course, will not break the regulative principles. But this is the mood that Acharya displays. Okay. Maharaj said Shiva is manifestation as time, and at another point he said Lord Krishna is that. I would like to know it clearly. Very good. So the thing is, there is no difference between Lord Shiva and Krishna. Kshirang yatha dodhi vikara vishesha yogat sanjayate nahi tata prithagasti hetu. There is, just as milk turns into yogurt with the adding of acid. Similarly, in order to perform some very special mission, to execute very special mission, Krishna jasambhutam api tatha samapaiti karya. He has assumed the form of Lord Shiva. So that way, Lord Shiva is a transformation of Vishnu or Krishna. It's not, but at the same time, there is some difference also, like milk can become yogurt, but yogurt cannot become milk. Vishnu can become Shiva, but Shiva cannot become Vishnu. And this Samupayati Karja, to execute some very special mission, that very special mission is actually to deal with the material nature. Krishna, Vishnu, in order to deal with the material nature, which is his external energy, he transformed himself into Shambhu, Shiva. Why? Because material nature is his external energy. And he himself cannot directly deal with the external energy. So in order to deal with the external energy, Mahamaya or Durga, material nature, he has assumed, transformed himself or assumed the form, Jasambhutamapi, assumed the form of Shambhu. So, so that is the purpose. And we can see also, like Durga, who is the husband of Durga? Lord Shiva. And what is that Samupayati Karja, that special mission? To put the living entities into the of the material nature. Tashang Brahma Mahajyonir Ahang Bija Pradopita. Krishna is telling in Bhagavad Gita that in the vast of material nature, I am the seed giving father. So that that aspect, that the living entities, projecting the living entities into the material nature, is the business of Lord Shiva. And that's why we can see the Shiva is the husband of Parvati or Durga or Mahamaya. Shiva is worshipped as a phallus symbol, lingam. Why? Because this is the signifying that all the living entities actually came into this material nature, into the of Mother Nature through Lord Shiva. So in order to execute that mission, which Vishnu himself couldn't do or would not do, because the material nature is his external energy, he transforms himself into Lord Shiva. Then also we can see that aspect of the Lord is Kal again. And Kala is actually is Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva is manifest as Mahakal. Lord Shiva is manifest as Kal Bhairav, and so forth. So he is Kal. Time aspect is representation of Lord Shiva. Hare Krishna.
I've asked other ISKCON sannyas this question. I've gotten various answers.
Now I'm nervous.
But can a person, can a soul transcend the material world by worship of Lord Shiva?
Well, by worshipping Lord Shiva, one can go up to Muktipad, up to the point of liberation, that is Brahma Jyoti, or at the most Shiva Loka, which is beyond Brahma Jyoti. But he cannot go beyond that. To go to Vaikuntha, one has to become a devotee of Vishnu.
So is Maheshtam, is that outside of the material world?
Yes, it is. It is outside, it's beyond Brahma Jyoti. Goloko namni nijadhamni talecha tasya Devi Mahesha Haridhama Shute Shuteshu.
So it is possible to get out of the material world by Shiva.
Yeah, but only up to Brahma Jyoti. Therefore, these Mayavadis worship Lord Shiva. And if they are properly situated, if they are not Mayavadis, if they are personalists, they accept Lord Shiva's personal feature, personal aspect, and become devotees of Lord Shiva, then they can go up to Maheshtam. Gauranath, I have a written question. I'll just take that first and then I'll take the other. When I realize my fallen condition, that is very painful situation, as I realize I am not qualified to serve Guru and Gauranga, is it the same with pure devotees, that means they are in pain always. Yes, they feel kind of unqualified at times, like very exalted devotees. For example, Haridas Thakur. Whose question is this? Your question? Okay.
Internet.
Oh, this is also from internet. Oh, this question is your question. Okay, very good. Yeah. So, yes, in a way, they do feel that way. Like that's why Haridas Thakur did not go to Jagannath temple. Sanatan Goswami, when his body became full of ulcer, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would embrace him, he decided to even give up his body under the wheels of Lord Jagannath's chariot. So that is the mood of an exalted devotee. I am not qualified. And that's why they rather push others to do the service, engage others. This is one mood, but at the same time, there is another mood when they see that irrespective of my condition, this service needs to be executed, so let me just do it. Like for example, there is no room for this kind of humble disposition in Vrindavan. Say, sometimes Vishakha Devi makes the bed for Krishna. And if there is some sort of impropriety, if there is not things done in proper way, Lalita Devi comes and chastises her very, very severely. Like for example, once the pillow, Krishna's pillow, thought that I always stay at Krishna's head and I never get a chance to serve his lotus feet. So that day, that night, the pillow moved towards Krishna's feet. And when Lalita Devi came and saw that the pillow at Krishna's feet and no pillow at Krishna's head, she thought it was Vishakha who actually spaced out. So she called her and started to chastise her. And eventually they found out that it was Mr. Pillow who did that on his own volition. Yes, Gaunatra.
Well, it said Vaishnava and Yatha Shambhav. Lord Shiva and Mahesh engaged brilliantly in Krishna,
In Mahesdam he is doing Sankirtan with his associates.
So it's like a spiritual world.
It's spiritual world, but Vishnu himself is not present there as such. Only there he is being worshipped as non-different from Vishnu. Brihad Bhagavatamrita actually, yes?
You're saying Lord Shiva is worshipped.
Lord Shiva is being worshipped. Like for example, Brihad Bhagavatamrita is explaining that when Gop Kumar came across Lord Shiva, then he didn't know Lord Shiva. He was just a simple cowherd boy from Govardhan. So he wondered who he was. And then Nandi, Lord Shiva's principal associate, started to explain to him who Lord Shiva is. And then he explained to him that there is no difference between Vishnu and Shiva. Vishnu actually has become Shiva. And so there is no difference between Shiva and Vishnu. Hari and Hara. So that is how they see him.